Hello everyone, Morris here, and today I'm going to share with you my very exciting new Leafy team for Axie Infinity Origin Season 4 in the Rare era. I have been a Leafy player since Season 1 or Season 2, so I do have quite a number of Leafy Axies, especially once they changed the bamboo spear kind of thing. I think it was Season 2. Then yeah, I was like, okay, I want to give it a go, but it wasn't very good. Yeah, I was like, okay, I tried it. So it didn't really go too well for the past two seasons, but now it could be a time for it to shine because for season four there has been a bit of update with um, the spears mechanics, so it actually makes Leafy a lot. Well, I won't say a lot, but slightly more viable. Of course, the top teams are still the Topaz and maybe Jinx even. But I do manage to get to top 150-ish with my Leafy team, and I'm currently the top Leafy player, which I'm quite glad that I managed to slowly learn and pilot the Leafy team at least to a relatively okay success. Obviously not at the top, and I know there are there's bad matchups as well. But yeah, let's just go through my team and see how it goes. Here is my team, and obviously you can actually tell that is I'm not optimized. Ideally, I want to have three way of plants. Unlucky with my crafting, haven't got it yet, so I'm just using the free one for the front. And yeah, I've been using different teams, and before I get into my own team, actually, what I want to do is to go through different Leafy teams to see how it goes. Because when I say Leafy team, of course, it's not all Leafy in the sense that more like Spears team, I would call it, like Leafy Spears team. Because I've actually tried some things like this, like with maybe one or two bamboos, and then the other one with the poison, not the poison, the spike ones with what do you call it, the tri spikes. I had something similar to this, I suppose, but it didn't work quite well. I feel it's because tri spike still the damage is still not there, a bit slow to get started, and the main problem with it was that it was very inconsistent in terms of getting the leaves because if you only have one, it's very hard for you to get the leaves in the that rotation. Even if you have two, which I had, right? I played around with two, which I actually can show you my teams here. Right? Yeah, this is the one that I talked about, right? With two spears, it's still not very consistent. Sometimes if the leaf the bamboo spears are at the bottom, like both copies at the bottom of my deck, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, so the blossom does help, and I'm gonna talk more about my team. Top team in a bit, but I have been trying like these teams to try and climb up. I got stuck at Tiger one, not Tiger one, like at Bear one for a while. Didn't manage to get to Tiger, and finally with this team, with I call it the Whiteys, right? Or the white plants, I would call them. And yeah, last night managing to get to Tiger, which is I would say a milestone in a way, but of course once you get a Tiger, things will be a lot tougher. Okay, so without further ado, let's just actually get into it. So for my team, it's probably easiest if I just go into the battles and then go from there. And I'll probably go through, it's going to be a relatively long video because I do want to go through different matchups. And you can see here, there are some good matchup, bad matchup. And the worst one probably is this so-called, I'll call it aggro beast kind of archetype because they do hit very hard. And especially with the bleed, which makes it a bit harder. But with of course I lose to a lot of the more optimized Topaz team as well. But I do want to go through because it is especially if you are playing Leafy, I do want to point out like what are the key ways in which you can navigate different matchups. At least how my team navigate different matchups. So let's just start with the AOE and see how this one goes. Okay, so let me just pause it here. I'm just going to go through my own Axie. And so my front, I have a Blossom. I think that's pretty important. Of course, like Bamboo Spear Leafy is a given, but I think the key is actually Blossom allows me to more consistently get to the cards that I want. Usually, it could be like the Leafy from the front or like a Bamboo. In this case, against AoE, you want to get Bamboo as soon as possible so you get the leaf so you can start healing back the AoE damage that they deal. And Shrimp is actually pretty good. Of course, these two cards not ideal, but especially Risky Fish, sometimes I don't want to get Fear, but it is what it is. And Perch well, actually has been useful in one of the matchup against some summon builds, but otherwise, yeah, again, not the best. But it could actually be good against a Jinx as well if you just keep this card and then use a lot of value from this. But Stream is the other key card that actually allows you to target all your Leafy into one Axie and probably KO one, especially against Topaz, and I'll actually go through that in a bit. And then for my mid, again, not very optimized. Of course, Leafy, Bamboo Spear, Corentale, those are the key ones. And interestingly, Pumpkin actually helps you quite a bit in terms of survivability because I don't have any taunt in my team. So sometimes I just want to play the shield at the front so that I can survive for a while. Square Teeth, of course, goes well with Pumpkin. If I need extra damage, and Confuse is just kind of there. It's okay, but not no, it's okay. That's how I put it. It's not essential. And then finally at the back, also again not very essential. A lot of the cards, mainly Leafy, Bamboo Spear, and the Blossom. I do feel like two Blossom could be quite useful and make the deck a bit more significant. Blossom allows you to also redraw a Leafy. Let's say you play a Leafy early on, right? And during the same rotation, if you get a Blossom early on, you can redraw the Leafy and then you can play again. So that is actually a pretty good combo. So these three cards are pretty good. And then the rest is again, Pumpkin, quite good for shielding. Tiny Turtle, I think this one, the sleep sometimes is useful again in late game, but it's mostly actually target any enemy could be pretty good. Just because sometimes you just want to snipe off the opponent. Let's say if you just do random Leafy, sometimes that one Leafy might be pretty low, and this might allow you to finish off that particular enemy Axie. And Tiny Dino always good in the sense that it keeps it in your hand so that well, next that rotation you will get to your Leafy faster. Okay, I'm just gonna go through it quickly and then with probably 2 times speed as well, just to see how this one goes. So the key of this matchup against AoE is to get to the spears early, right? The bamboo spears early so that you can well, allow you to get more leaves. So that's why I'm actually going to use the blossom, if I remember correctly, right, to get the leaves. Yep, so unfortunately the turn is not great. I didn't want to shield, but no choice. I'm actually going to use the Blossom to actually get the Spear, but it didn't really show, but you'll see when I draw the card. And then, okay, I haven't even seen the opponent's hand before, so I just see, okay. Yep, so managed to get the Spear. So again, one of the thing about Pumpkin is that it's quite good for Leafy teams because you do want to get to your Leafy earlier. So very unfortunate this turn, right? Getting all the good cards, and so I prioritize playing the spears, and I did use the fragments to keep these two cards because I feel like these two are key. So ideally next turn I can play these two cards plus another Leafy or something. But you can see is that well, I'm already at what 6 stacks of leaves, which is pretty good. Of course, ideally, if I have Way of Plant here, it'll be 8 as well. Then it's basically just very good matchup against AoE, I would say. Of course, not a given. Also, it depends on how the card draws, but yeah, AoE is in general like against Leafy is a bit rough just because I have so much passive healing across the board. Here, I decided to actually go for the back, but unfortunately, I didn't manage to KO the KO as you can see later. Yeah, it was very close, but I lacked the damage just because this one is a Way of Plant as opposed to an attack. So that actually kind of hurt me because then they get more value from the back. So if I actually managed to KO them, it would have been quite a bit better. As you can see, right, they get the 40, 45, 46, 47 across the board. Yeah, with this Axie. Otherwise, this game would be a lot easier. But now, yeah, that is like my Axie is actually going very low and it's very close. So this is actually not the best. But you can see how stream could work if I actually KO the back Axie, but it just happened that it didn't manage to. So okay, this turn just gonna get more leaves. I still prioritize the leaves, and then luckily the leaves actually managing to finish it off. And yeah, this is so low that I can just use this to deal a bit of damage to the back as well. And then I'm going to use the cottontail and then just, yeah, risk a fish. Actually, this is a misplay. I didn't have the time to play Blossom. I wanted to play Blossom so that I can get the Leafy. There's actually another Leafy in here that I can get, but that was a bit of a misplay because I didn't manage to, but opponent, yeah, getting a lot of revenge card is not ideal for them. But still, this game is still very close. And I was thinking, oh, okay, I need the Leafy. If I, played the card correctly, I would have gotten a Leafy, but I did not. You can see, right, the Leafy is actually in here. But still, so this turn again, actually not the best turn because I kind of I was greedy in that sense. Okay, I was just gonna deal as much damage as possible, but actually I didn't need to because as long as my front survives, I should be okay. But of course, I just fear that if they have the wing horn, right? And yeah, they kill my front, and Leafy is gone anyway, and I might not have enough damage. So that's why I wanted to do as much damage as possible, or I can. And I'm just hoping that they can't finish both of my Axie off, which in this case, well, even if the front goes down, I'm fine. But in this case, yes, getting the Leafy, and that is GG. So for this kind of matchup, it's all about getting the spear and then trying to target, especially the back one if possible, with the shrimp. So that is against AoE. Okay, so this game is against the Topaz team. So the Tiger 3, so okay, of course it's not the most optimized, but it's still pretty good. So this turn is a bit weird. I don't want to like do risky fish first, that's because I really don't like the fear. So I actually play everything else, and then I use this Blossom to actually, I think if I remember correctly, draw the first, the Leafy from the first Axie. The reason is that I know that they are going to be able to burst through my back, my front very, very quickly. So even now you can see like 54 damage. This is quite lucky that the square teeth come early because later on it will do even more damage. So okay, so they keep the topaz. So yeah, so choose to just go for the leafy. In this case, again, actually I kind of made a interesting call. Yeah, so I used the blossom there just to get a bamboo. Then I can at least make use of this leafy. So I actually use the fragment to get to keep the leafy. So the good part about going first is that because my team doesn't have any energy gain, right? So I mean fragment gains. So I'll have to wait until round 4 in order to use my coin tail anyway. So I actually can afford to keep twice. While of course the opponent now is just doing the usual shenanigans. And yeah, I forgot actually they keep the topaz as well. Yeah, so that's the tricky part, right? If they get the topaz early, it's gonna be a bit tricky for them. So okay, so this turn, yeah, getting all the good cards, but I feel like oh, okay, that's actually quite interesting that I actually decided to target down the front. So yeah, this is actually the key moment, right? Where I managed to get through the front, but of course then I can still use one energy to keep my leafy, right? That is pretty key because then I already mitigated one topaz damage. And the key of basically beating topaz team is to just kill one Axie as soon as possible. That's basically how it is, right? Whichever one doesn't matter, but at least like kill one. And I feel like this one, I killed the key one, and quite lucky that I still have the leafy from the back and so on. But having said that, though, I'm still at the back foot in a way, right? Because they are still pretty healthy, and it's still gonna be quite tough for me at this point. So leafy deal massive damage. Let me see what I did. Okay, I go for the shield, and actually I just have to use it. So because okay, otherwise I risk my mid going down. So I just use everything I can. Hopefully this will survive so that maybe next rotation I get the leafy. That will be the ideal case. Of course, keeping a tiny dino so I can milk the value from the tiny dino. But this is still pretty close. They're gonna, just gonna topaz, and then I would assume a hungry bird as well, just to heal up a bit. Yep. So Now they get to 4 energy now for them. So I need to finish this off soon. So luckily I have the damage to actually get through this. And I actually managed to keep the tiny dino and just use the sword to finish off. But it is key to finish them off as soon as possible so that they don't get topaz value, because otherwise I imagine they get 2 topaz, it's going to be quite rough for me. But now they draw revenge cards. Yeah, very tough, especially with the lamb. So they actually get a quite good lamb value here because they hit my my back Axie with full health. But now, as long as I get the Leafy, I should be pretty okay, and I still have the Leafy from this to draw, and yeah, that is GG. So again, very lucky in the sense that managing to basically finish them off before they get the topaz. So again, this matchup is all about how early they can get their topaz, and of course for the more optimized team, they are more consistent, and they probably can get the cards before I can finish them off. So that is basically the difference between more optimized team and less optimized teams. Okay, so that is for the Topaz matchup. Okay, so this one is for Jinx, and actually in a way this is quite lucky for me because like this Jinx doesn't have Garish Worm, meaning they can't actually get rid of my cards. So yeah, you can see I actually used the Blossom already, I think, to get the front leaf so that next turn I can use it. But then I forgot, oh, they can mostly just hit my back. So yeah, unfortunately my back did get my leaves gone because of the Orangler. So the key about this matchup, right, is to keep your value as much as you can. So here, yeah, I'm just gonna play Leafy, just deal as much damage as I can, and I think, did I even? Yeah, I think I keep the shrimp, right? Because I don't want to get any damage leaked out, right? So I want to use every single cards from my rotation. But of course, that's given that they don't have Garish Worm, then that's why I think the more optimized Jinx will have Garish Worm, just so that I can't keep cards here as well. Um, Neo, not so sure. Yeah, they got rid of one of my key cards. I think one of the Leafy, if I remember correctly. So then, yeah, again, no point of shielding because that's just wasting energy. I just need to use as much, deal as much damage as you can in the first rotation. So I don't think I even bother keeping the shield. Yeah, I think I used the square teeth already, so it's not really useful. This is actually quite lucky, and they never get the Neo and the Parasite, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to draw these 5 cards. Then I'll actually be forced to go into the next rotation. Let's imagine this is 4 cards, right? Then I won't be able to draw these back next rotation. So that is lucky in a way. So it goes well for me. Sometimes it doesn't go well for me. Then especially with Garish Worm, then it's gonna be tough. So I have to use the Leafy. So that is actually in a way a mistake. Now I think about it, because I actually should have used Perch and use the energy to keep the Leafy. So I actually should have try to use Perch. Because now they know that I have Perch, my front is actually going to go down. So that was actually a bit of a mistake by me. That turn, what I should have done was actually to just use a Corntail and then get the extra energy, just Perch, and then maybe keep one of the Leafy. Or I play one of the Leafy first, use Corntail, use the Perch, and then keep the rest. So that was not the most well executed for me, but so that's why my perch. My plan was that okay, next turn I can just use Corntail or something and perch or something, but wasn't really paying attention. So now Corntail is pretty much useless just because. Yeah, well, actually, luckily, it's not useless. But usually, right, you just have so many Jinx card that having extra energy doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I basically decided to not even use it. So again, actually this one, I got very lucky that I actually managed to draw. So that's why you can see that the shield actually allows me to draw. So that's pretty lucky. Again, I think I kind of made a mistake because I could have actually saved the shield until I get to square teeth to do more damage. So again, I'm not milking the damage here. But the shield does allow me to survive, but very luckily I just get all the Leafies, and I think that's GG. Yeah, managing to finish off here. But you can see it could go very differently. But the key about playing against Jinx is that you just have to keep your resources. Um, yeah, of course, against Garage Worm will be a bit more difficult, so you have to use keep quite a lot. But yeah, so that is basically how it is against Jinx. I don't really have a good matchup against this kind of, okay, I'll call it aggro beast, so that's why I don't really have any like good thing to show other than, yeah, let's just hope that you won't queue into them. Or of course, if draw goes well, use the shrimp to KO the back first. So sometimes I actually manage to do that. Yeah, then that would be good. But otherwise, yeah, I don't think I managed to find one. Yeah, I think maybe like something like this one, right? I think I remember just uh, trying to KO the back with the shrimp. But yeah, so that is for Leafy team for me. So hopefully we will find some Axies with the key parts, of course, is the bamboo shoot and the Leafy. The rest, I think now different people are still playing different things, and of course, like it is going to be quite interesting to see how different people play. Neo would be good. Actually, this one I can see some potential here as well. I do have an Axie with Neo as well, but you do need quite a number of them. Reason is good is because against Topaz team, you can hopefully snipe off that Topaz in the first rotation. Then it gives you quite a bit of advantage. So now I think the disruption kind of, I mean, draw disruption or even hand disruption kind of card could be quite useful because people tend to keep to their topaz, and also, yeah, it's just similar to Leafy team. Um, the weakness is actually things like Garage Worm and Parasite and Neo. Reason being, once they get rid of the Leafy card, it's going to be a bit tough. So that's why I actually try to play the Spikes one, so that you increase the number of like so-called strong or OP card. But then still, it's not that consistent. So this is more consistent. But of course, once you get to a matchup where people just play a lot of Parasite and they manage to snipe off as well, of course, it's not like every time they manage to. But if they manage to just snipe off get rid of your Leafy in that rotation, I think it's pretty much GG. So that is the weakness of playing this kind of team, especially against Jinx. And that's why Jinx is probably going to have a pretty good matchup. So yeah, oh, 50% win rate. Yeah, so that's why you can see it's not that good. So far, I'm still like going okay and not, but of course, once you get to play long enough, you will settle at a particular rank with 50% win rate, and probably that's where I'm at. And I'm quite happy about rank 151 at the moment. So yeah, hopefully you will get some success with the Leafy as well. If you enjoy Leafy, and do leave a comment if you have any suggestions of how we can improve a team, or yeah, improve Leafy in general. And yeah, so this is it for this video. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.